Okay, I'm not going to yell right out the intro. But welcome to the Just Action podcast, where all we do is take action. I am the one, the only holiday season. And today you're here for another, as always, a special reason. Today we are starting, I don't have a name for it yet, but it's interviews and conversations with you. And however we make that fancy, we'll make it happen. This is the first episode of many more to come. Today, the inaugural, the beginning, the foreman, the one, the only. And you don't know him yet, but you will get to know him very soon. My friend, Josh Tavares, has came to stop by. And we're going to have a conversation about life, more so of probably AI, probably stocks, probably Lucid, as we'll get into. But more so than not, I want you to take away, hopefully, from these conversations, people, that to be successful, you just have to chase what you really want. So, all that to say, Josh, welcome, brother. How you doing?
Dude, I'm doing well, man. Thank you so much for having me. It's really great to hear you do what you do, bro.
Ah, man, I appreciate it. I really do, for real.
Only blessings from here and only up from here, that's for sure.
I love it, man. I appreciate that, really, because like we were saying earlier before the camera, man, like, this stuff can't happen if people aren't interested, if people aren't intrigued. So I'm glad I stepped out and took a leap of faith to, like, try and do this, because I ain't gonna lie to you, when I put the first post out, I was shaking. I was like, what if I fail? What if people say, like, I don't want to mess with you, this, that, and the third? But, like, the response has been love, and you were off the jump, like, when and ever and wherever, I'm ready to go. So
Definitely.
I definitely appreciate that. Let's jump to the origin of Josh. And I know a little bit, but for the people that don't, you walk up on the street and you're having a deep conversation with somebody. Somebody says, yo, if they ever ask this, who's Josh? Like, what's that response like for you?
That's a good question, man. Who is Josh? Josh is really family-oriented. Everything that I do is for those who would do anything for me. So, like, I always carry my family in my heart. My family's Brazilian. We got these, they look like coffee bags, huh?
That's what, I have no clue. But now that you said it, I actually recognize, Brazil there.
And right here, they actually spell Brazil the correct way. Brazilians spell Brazil with an S. Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right. So
Brazil.
now, hey, I've learned something. Us Americans, we'll switch a word up real quick. So,
yeah.
Brazil with an S.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, come from Brazil. How'd you get to the States?
So, believe it or not, I'm actually first generation. I was born here. I was born in Virginia.
Okay.
That's how I know Dez and Ty and all them. Let's see here. Sorry, I kind of just lost my train of thought.
Make sure
all right, bet.
Yeah. So,
are we doing like?
You can cut it if you want to cut it.
Yeah. Okay.
Freeform, whatever you want to do, bro. I'm with whatever. I've had when you had to cut some stuff. I've had it when you just let it ride. So
yeah,
whatever you want to do, we're with it.
But let's see here.
You're good, bro. Hey, you're with me. The cameras are here, the lights are on, but it's just me.
I feel like at the beginning, bro, when I was like listening to you, my sensory system was just like going overload, dude. Like, just like, what do I say? Like, exactly, bro. Like just receiving, taking it all in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's like, yo, we're actually doing this. All right, we're live.
Right.
Wait, the camera's on.
Dude, this man, for everybody that's watching right now, this man was like, all right, lights red. And I was like, oh. I was like, bet. All right, we're
cool. All right, yeah. It's me. Hey, Josh.
Man, I was, oh, shit. Yeah, I'm from Brazil. No, not from Brazil. I was born here.
Oh,
man.
Is it hot in here or is it just me?
No, it feels good. Yo, I really like the hoodies. The one in particular, it's like a stone color.
Yeah.
Beige color with the pink that you did. I like that combo.
I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, man.
I was actually like upset at first because I wanted a pale pink, and it came out like
pale pink.
Bright. But the more I started wearing it, so I ended up saying like, you know what, I'm not even gonna be mad at it. I'm just gonna wear it. And the more I wore it, it actually sold something. People were like, I kind of like this. And I was like, all right, if you like it, I love it. Like, it's cool.
If you like it, I love that.
Yeah. So, from Virginia.
Yeah.
What school? What high school did you go to?
South County.
Oh, so
South County.
South County. Okay.
Yeah, go Stallions, baby.
Go Stallions.
13.
Hey, shout out to, we'll name them all off now. Des. Shout out. We got to get you your Des. Ty.
Yeah.
Oren. Van Dyke.
Yes.
Marlon.
Yes.
Am I missing one?
Warner. Yeah, definitely. You know, Willie Benavidez.
Willie.
You know Will.
Oh, Will. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, shout out to everybody for sure.
And I'm saying all this like I went to South County. I went to
right, he named a lot of people.
Yeah, shout out Soko, man. Y'all are all cool, and I love y'all. So,
hell yeah. South
County originated from Brazil.
Right. Yeah. And then let's see here. You know, when I was growing up, like I wasn't the best student.
Okay.
And I would kind of like, as I got older, I would kind of like tell myself, and then like tell my mom, and whoever else, you know, that I wanted to learn like what I wanted to learn. You know what I mean?
I love that.
But at that point, I didn't even really think about like deciding on what books. You know what I mean? I didn't read like that.
Yeah.
And let's see here. I think I always had this like yearning to like graduate high school and then just like dip, but like in the good way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like go explore. So I went to Alabama.
Yep.
Roll Tide, baby.
Still insane. You're the only person I know that actually went to. No, I know a second one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Chris Clark. He played on the basketball team.
Shout out to Chris Clark. Roll Tide.
Yeah, Roll Tide. So, Roll Tide, Alabama.
Yeah.
What'd you study there?
So I was a consumer science major.
What is
so
that?
Like no, I get that reaction literally all the time. I'm used to it. So like, I like to say that it's the major for CEOs who are bad at math. Like I learned anything from finance to negotiation and like conflict management at like a high level, social media marketing, you know, all kinds of stuff that like ultimately interested me.
Sounds like an
public
advanced,
policy,
business administration almost.
Dude,
like
yeah, that's what I would compare it to, man. They were
Yeah.
different colleges, right? At Alabama. But that particular college, that particular program means a lot to me, that's for sure. And so after I graduated, I moved to Nashville and I started working for Dell.
Okay.
Inside sales, behind a desk. And, you know, I was relatively good at it. I ultimately decided it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Like being at a desk and having like a cubicle to myself, like has this like, I don't know, like this, like might have to cut this, but
no, I'm right there with you because I'll back you up on it. I was in, I graduated college. I ended up getting a job, at said company. I won't say their name, but I was there at a desk job, like cubicle, and it just felt like I was trapped. It almost felt like, yo, I'm going to work to sit in this cube and I'm trying to decorate my cube to make it like mine.
Right.
But like, to what extent is this really mine? You know, I'm putting sticky notes up, but outside of that, like, it just feels like I'm trapped. So I get where you're going in that regards of just like, especially the thought process that I'm hearing leading up to this. Like, you want to learn, haven't been really reading books that much, but like, you had this exploration of learning. You want to know something deeper, something larger, not just how do I do my job. Yeah.
Exactly. I love that it seems like it resonated with you, man. And it's obvious like why you and I were always destined to like be friends and you know, I'm just thankful for everybody that I've been able to like call a friend, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy how we met too, because we met through Des, and it almost took like we took a relationship of our own. Because normally, you know, you can connect all these people in a friend group, but like more times than not, you guys stay connected in that friend group. Like some people, like you might be connected through him, and I only see you through Des. But the fact that we were able to venture off and form our own type of relationship, speaks volumes to, I guess, the conversations that we have, the way we think, where it's just like, hey, we don't have to just see Des all the time. I can connect with you right now. So in that, you step away from Dell, you realize that's not what you're looking for. What's that next move for you? Because now you went from Virginia to Alabama, Roll Tide, to Nashville. So now you've been moving on the East Coast. Was this when you ventured off west?
Yeah, man. I think it's worth noting, like my mindset, like during my tenure at Dell. I had started like my reading journey right before I had graduated college.
Okay.
And I had read this book, gave a lecture on this book called The Startup Way by Eric Ries. Check it out.
Eric Ries, got you. I'm gonna look into it.
Dude, do it. Startups are notoriously fast paced, right? So, I'm gonna choose my words carefully here, but I just didn't see eye to eye with Dell and how they particularly operate.
Okay.
I was kind of telling myself there's got to be more. But like also questioning myself, like who am I to think like I'm getting paid well? I got a nice crib. I live in a nice spot in Nashville. I had a hot girlfriend.
Life is good. Life is good.
Life is good, dude. But like, I was kind of having like an identity crisis, dude. Like, no cap identity crisis. And so I was just like, dude, California's calling my name. I had like my whole life, I had kind of like heard the call from California. I always like to tell people I'm close with, that I always seem like, or let me pick. I always gravitate towards where my heart seems to be calling me from.
Okay.
Like as if like my heart's already there.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, because I've been doing this. I've been learning this concept. I've been learning the concept, but I saw something that kind of confirmed it last night through a TikTok. Shout out TikTok. Hopefully, it's still here. In the future. But he was saying, yo, the reason you yearn for something so badly is because your future self already has it. He was saying, yo, when times get tough, that kind of eases or gives you peace, because it's like, yo, why do I want this so bad now? It's because that future you already has it, saying, yo, you need to get here.
It's a wild concept.
You need to get here because it's there. So I definitely see what you're saying in terms of like, yo, California, you was already set in mentally, spiritually, wherever you want to take it, but you had to physically get there.
Man, that's just profound. Like,
that's dope. So you get to California, you leave Dell, and is the next move officially Tesla or?
Nah. Good question.
What do you do there?
I actually went to a couple of places before I got to Tesla. I moved to California. I moved to San Diego, and I had an interview. I did not have like any job locked in. And I interviewed at the solar company. I worked for a company called Vivint Solar. They got bought by or acquired by Sunrun, who was our direct competitor. I was doing door-to-door sales. And it was an awesome experience It wasn't very long. But I'm very appreciative of my experience there, man. It was one of those things like where I had to make it work.
Right.
Because door-to-door sales is like pretty daunting, right?
Yeah.
But the money was good, and the experience, like the learning that I did there, man, was awesome. That's for sure. Shout out to my boy Tommy. After Vivint, I went onto. So I had competing offers from LV, Louis Vuitton, and Tesla.
Wow.
And as you kind of already know this about me, but I'm really into fashion, really into design. And I've had like this dream for a long time of like making clothes.
Yeah.
For anyone and everyone, you know, all ages. I was torn, right, because Tesla is Tesla, and then LV was a place that was kind of like enchanting me, you know, like okay, right. Like if I went there, maybe I can learn a thing or two about like, you know, this passion that I have. So I ended up picking LV. Mm-hmm. I worked there for like 8 months. Wasn't there for very long. You know, it was a cool experience. I got to have my hands on like a lot of cool pieces. I get to say, and RIP, I get to say that I worked under Virgil, and wow. You know,
that's awesome.
Yeah, man. He's a big inspiration for me personally, and just a big inspiration for everybody, for good reason. Let's see here. So, you know, I got to a point where I was like, you know, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. It was a little bit more of like like wishful thinking, if you will, but I almost feel like that's like negative sounding.
Yeah.
You know, it was an experience, a good experience, and I called up Tesla again, and I was able to convince them to get me on a seasonal position, and then I ultimately turned it into a permanent position. And I loved it there. It was a really good experience. I would bounce around from sales, operations, and service.
Okay.
So I got like the full experience of the automotive industry, at least the electric vehicle industry.
Yeah.
Got to meet a lot of cool people. You know, learned a lot about myself, about life. So that was when I was in San Diego. And I was there for about like a year and a half. But ultimately, I ended up leaving, and I moved home. I really actually kind of wanted to go to VCU.
Yeah.
To pursue like a fashion degree.
Yeah.
Get some formal training. But it ultimately just wasn't meant to happen. And I wasn't really that like sad about it.
Okay.
Sorry, my eye.
No, you're good, brother.
You know, because I was already kind of like doubting it, right? Like, I'm 27. I would go to school for however long, and then come out, like, you know, early 30s, and you know, maybe I'll make it. I don't know. When I could just, you know, do what I'm also interested in, make good money at it, and then learn on the side, you know?
Yeah. Where you was at, and you said stopped at VCU, wanted to transition.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk about actually the fashion that you got going on. So tell us about the pieces that you have. Dude,
that's a good question, man. So like the first time we ever did anything was what feels like a long time ago. It was a long time ago. We had sourced like this really nice cotton in Brazil, and we just printed our logo on it, and like we knew that, or we didn't know when we would produce again, but like we knew that like the fire wasn't going anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like since that time, I think we launched in like 2018, and it needs to be said, right, that I'm into clothes and fashion overall because like my mom is totally a fashionista. She's a diva, always has been. My parents and I, we would go to Springfield Mall.
Nice.
And it was just us. It was us three. And we would go there every weekend, dude. Yeah, a lot of good memories there. I'd always get in fights in the tubes that they had there.
I cannot see you being a fighter, bro. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, dude. Most people think I got this like soft side, right? Because I like clothes and I like fancy things. I like pretty things. But no, my first passion has always been boxing. I love to box, and I love to follow boxing. And yeah, no, boxing is the shit.
Okay, did you watch the
the Caleb Plant fight.
Yeah,
dude, I actually didn't watch it, but I was aware of it.
Yeah.
I was aware of it. I wanted Plant to
everybody wanted Plant. You got a bully over here talking about your daughter who's gone now, and it's like, yo, knock this guy out.
Right.
But obviously, still comes down to the sport of boxing, and he wasn't fully there yet. But I mean, he put up a good first 3-4 rounds, looked really good, but also, what's his name, Benavidez? Yeah, Benavidez was just it almost looked like he was just waiting. Yo, I'm gonna let you do what you need to do. I'll let you even take the first 4. You can get the first 4 rounds.
Right.
But after that, it wasn't a good show. In terms for Plant. Now Benavidez,
right.
Yeah, he did what he needed to do.
I like Plant's flow, man.
Yeah.
I like his flow. When he fought Canelo, where's Canelo, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cut that. No. I actually saw their press conference that time, and they were talking some smack, brain fart.
It's all good. Yeah, I honestly, with the fight, I didn't know. The only reason I'm really watching boxing is to hang out with my friends. I don't follow it closely to the point where I'm like, oh, cool. Jonah hit me up, was like, hey, can I watch a fight?
Jonah, shout out Jonah.
Shout out Jonah. Be holding it down for all the fights. But yeah, went over there, and then through the conversation of just being around friends, they'll tell me the whole backdrop of that's when I found out. I was like, why is this anticipated? What's going on? And they told me the whole backstory. I was like, oh, now I'm invested. But yeah, so not really big on the fight scene and following it, but whenever it's on, if somebody has it going, I definitely pull up. I definitely watch. I have a good time with that. So, and where could we go from there? Because fighting has been cool, and that was your first passion. Let's get to the passion of your thought process, because I think it's really intriguing for somebody to study consumer science and then the transition from inside sales at major corporations. Kudos to you, brother. It ain't
Thanks,
you just going to a mom and pop shop and you're doing what you're doing. You're at Dell, you're at LV, you're at Tesla. You come back home and get with Lucid.
I'm at Lucid right now.
So, and these companies, you have to have this thought process. You have to have this background, but this information, this knowledge. How do you start gaining this? Because you said you started reading coming out of college. As soon as you come out of college, this is when you start finding kind of a love for books. And I know, you're a bookworm. Me and you can go back and forth on books and just discuss them.
Definitely. I like your collection, by the way.
I appreciate it, man. I try and keep a good stack on me. That's something I think we should do as well. Like
a little book club?
Yeah.
Oh, I've
been wanting to do a book club for so long, because I just think in the process of reading books, I learned this theory of you learn twice by teaching somebody.
Learn twice by teaching somebody.
So not only do I read the book and I understand it, but for me to comprehend it and tell somebody else not only what they said, but paraphrase it in my thoughts, now it's ingrained even further.
Right, what it means to you.
Yeah, so having that book club will not only, one, get people reading, which I think is huge, but two, we sit around and start gathering these thoughts. And the books that we're reading are personal development, self-help books, where it's just okay, say we read The Power of Positive Thinking. And next thing you know, we come and talk about chapter 4, where he's talking about prayer, and maybe somebody says, yo, I'm not really big on prayer, but maybe I meditate. And it's just these different thought processes of, this is how I gain something from either a higher source or this, that, and the third. But you see what I'm saying? Just gathering all these different opinions where we can have good conversation.
Right.
And I think that's something that is vital. And I think we might be coming soon with a book club. So let's stay with that.
Stay tuned.
So you're getting into books. What are you currently reading right now?
So I will read a few things depending on my mood, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a collector as well as an avid reader of Hypebeast.
Yep. Don't you have every...
Yeah, I'm missing one.
Missing one. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you understand what he's saying here, but he has every Hypebeast collection except one. How many are there?
I think there's 30 total. I have 29 out of 30.
It's 29 out of 30, and I don't know the price, but I'm not going to say they're cheap.
There's some pretty rare ones out there, that's for sure.
So to have that's pretty cool, to have a collector's item. How'd you get started with the collector's item? Because I don't even collect things.
Yeah, dude, I feel like I've always kind of collected things. I think it started with stickers. I've always been into stickers. What else I'm reading? I'm actually reading about gut health. So it's a book called Mind-Gut Connection, and it's about like our enteric nervous system, our vagus nerve, and ultimately like the conversation that our gut has with our brain, and learning a lot. This particular science seems like really undiscovered, I'll take this second to like give my appreciation to like our species, right? Like we are capable of like a lot of things. We're all like unique in our own way, and like shout out to us for like being curious. I think curiosity, like having this hunger for learning, is like helps you in so many ways. Most importantly, like helps your brain like stay young, in my opinion. I'm also reading a book about superintelligence. Yeah, it's about artificial intelligence.
Okay, got you.
Neuromorphic computing, quantum mechanics, quantum computing, sorry. They talk about like 3 forms of superintelligence, and like the different trajectories that they may have, in like different scenarios. And it's just a really, really cool book, thought-provoking book.
Yeah.
A book I should have read a little bit earlier, but at the same time, I feel like I'm reading it at the right moment.
Right.
So yeah, I'm reading those 3 right now. Getting ready to like go over the hump, start another hype beast, and then I think I'm gonna read a book about platonic relationships.
Nice.
If not a book, I have a pretty lengthy reading list.
Yeah.
So I'll like either pick something that I already have or buy something else. Yeah, dude.
I like it, man. You have a very different from me, like as I listen to you read, where it's just like this vast knowledge of information. Like, you're going from gut health to like super intelligence to like platonic relationships, and I'm over here in this one lane of like, how do I learn to be a better person? How do I learn to like just think better? What am I reading right now? So I'm reading
Tell me what you're reading.
Peele.
What was that? My bad.
Vincent Norman Peele, the Power of Positive Thinking. I'm pairing that with the Psychology of Money.
Okay.
And I just started getting into like the Bible, like just
Very
reading
nice.
the Bible. So
cool.
Those 3 I'm reading right now. I have an audiobook like The Science of Getting Rich. That I couple with reading the book, but like if I don't want to read it, I just listen to it.
Yeah, that's actually what I do.
I think that's very awesome because sometimes reading might not be beneficial, but also like just in the moment that you're in, but having the audiobook on is really good. And then if I go back to read, I'll reread what I've already heard. So it's almost like I can kind of speed read it because I know what he said.
Right.
Which I think is huge. But where does this, for you, like this vast information, like what brings this curiosity to you to say like, yo, I want to know about like everything? Because in my mind, I'm like, yo, I just want to master like this, and I'll couple it with a couple of things. But like to go from gut health to platonic relationships, where does this vast curiosity to say like, yo, I just want to know, like, just give me a shotgun shell and I'll spray the bullets everywhere? Where does that come from?
Man, I'm not too sure, man. I'm not too sure. Maybe because I was an only child.
Okay. Likewise.
Yeah, you were an only child?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out only child.
Now I got step like brothers and sisters
yeah. I got
now,
same.
Yeah, I grew up. I think up until I was in college when I got my first Step-siblings.
Were
so,
you?
Yeah.
I was right. I think it was right before college for me.
Okay, got you. So yeah, only child, which is, I can see that we're just having this wide information. You don't really have nobody to talk to at home all the time. So okay, I can see that. I can definitely see that.
I always kind of wonder like how life would be like if I had like a brother. At one point I did yearn for a brother.
Yeah.
But you know, not that I'm thankful I didn't have any siblings or anything. But I'm always curious like as to like what my life probably would have been like if I did have siblings. Yeah, dude, you asked me a good question, Alton. You really did. I'm not sure where the curiosity comes from. I want to learn about different things. And I think it really, like, to answer your question, I think it really comes back to Tav.
Yeah.
Like, Tav, the word Tav, like, I conceptualized from my private life, from my personal life, because I have this, like, ambition and this, like, curiosity, you know?
Right.
Like, the definition that I gave Tav was a perpetually ambitious state of being. So, like, that's ultimately, like, the best way I would describe that, like, the brand to you. We're all just building brands at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
In our particular fields and trying to do the best in that field, you know?
Right.
Breach other fields, you know? Learn more about ourselves so we can be better artists, be better creatives, and get into different lanes so people can, you know, look at something and then look at something totally different and then know, okay, that would make sense. Like, that was, like, AJ made that, you know? And that's something that I think about a lot. But, like, Tav, to me, I'm really into, like, fashion houses, right? Like the essence of making clothes. One of the last books that I read was The Fabric of Civilization. And it was super interesting to hear, you know, like the impact that like thread and clothes ultimately were like a few centuries ago. Dyeing clothes. Did you know that mummies, we see them as they are, right?
Okay.
And what does that mean? They're covered in dirt, right? They're you can tell that they've been wrapped,
right?
And they've been underground is ultimately the premise, right?
Okay.
But when they were embalmed and mummified and wrapped, they were actually wrapped in blue linen.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's turned white.
Right. Exactly. Over time, the dye just kind of faded away. And at the time, like when people were, like when humans were like messing with different dyes and trying to achieve like different colors, because we didn't always have, you know, the knowledge of like pigmentation on fabric, on material, you know?
Evolution of stuff. Okay.
Exactly. So like fabric had like a huge impact on like the Industrial Revolution. Like to some people, that like machines that wove thread were very, very similar to how electrical engineers, I believe, they like build circuit boards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like the components, the fundamental components of the computer, like kind of mimic ancient weaving methods.
So that's one, mind-blowing, but two, it's like we never really ventured off from where we started. If you start looking at it, it's just kind of advanced because you're going to have change. But the same process that we're having that you're saying with like weaving this stuff comes the same way that we do with computers. Now I see why you have this vast information because you just start putting it all together. I see what you're doing, Josh. I see what you're doing. That's awesome. Okay, cool. So now, wow. Okay, I like that. I like that a lot, actually. That's really cool.
Good, dude.
Because you start thinking about just a whole bunch of stuff, right? Where if you can get to the root cause. So one of the things I really like trying to find the information or finding the underlying themes of stuff, right? So the same way that you're saying that the computer went all the way back to these woven machines, I'm thinking the same way of okay, well, this is how I put it.
Mm-hmm.
You went from Dell to LV to Tesla. You went to all these positions, but you had these underlying core principles that were transferable.
Guiding me. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing that I really try and take away with conversations that we're having now, or conversations I've had in the past of like, what are these transferable skills that you have that somebody, so say I'm talking to somebody next week who works in mechanical engineering. Mm-hmm. Two totally different fields, right? Yeah. But what are those transferable skills, those underlying principles that you both live by that make you successful? And successful to me, I think as Earl Nightingale says, is progressive realization of a worthy ideal, right?
Interesting.
So no matter whatever you want to deem success, it's just you continue to move forward towards that idea of whatever success means to you. So you're saying, I want to build Tab, and I want to build this brand, and I want it to be like whatever, like this huge thing where somebody can differentiate, hey, I know Josh made that because of said clothing item or said material. Somebody else might be like, I just want to, if it's not a brand, I want to work, but at my job, I want them to know, like, whenever my stuff comes through, oh, this was done by so-and-so. I know his work. So that's ultimately what I try and get to, and it's cool to hear from you of just like, you have found an underlying principle.
Thanks, man.
And it's awesome, bro. It's really cool. Dude, mind blown there. But
I'm appreciative that you find that cool.
Yeah, no, because I think everybody is unique in their own way, right? So, like, yes, I want to build a brand, and I have clothing items as well, and you have clothing items, but the way I look at it might be totally different from the aspect of the fashion house that you want to build. I'm like, I just want you to have the brand. Like, this can be simple material, but when you wear it, you understand the thought process behind of what this means. Like, if you see Stay Goofy,
shout out
Stay Goofy, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and get you
Stay
one
Goofy.
website, holidayseason.com, as I got holiday season on me.
Yeah.
Whatever, But anyways, so you see Stay Goofy, and it's not the greatest material. I'm not saying I'm competing with anybody.
The shirt. I like the shirt. Well, the shirt that I have.
Yeah.
I like it. I wear it often.
I appreciate it. Thank you. But that to say, my material is going to be way different than yours. Precisely so, because you have this in-depth knowledge of woven machines back in ancient times. So you kind of know what you're talking about here. I'm just like, that looks like it can last through a couple washes, okay? But the principle behind Stay Goofy is like, you can be deep. You can have these super intellectual talks. You can have these fantastic quotes that I put on Instagram that you're trying to perfect.
That are fantastic.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You're trying to do all these cool, deep, intellectual things, but at the end of the day, when you see Stay Goofy, bro, just laugh sometimes. Just stay goofy. Like,
goofy.
Be childlike. Be funny. Like, you don't have to be so serious all the time, because as I'm growing into adulthood, people are so serious.
They really are, man. Like, they really, really do try to be.
And I get it, like, you have to become an adult, but, like, I think, and maybe you can help me out with this. When it comes to, like, building a brand, and, you're building Tab, and you're having these ideas of collections that you want to put together, it's not necessarily you being so serious. You have to expand into this childlike imagination to say, like, I can't see this here. I can't see it physically, but, like, I could imagine somebody putting, like, this on the shirt and then them wearing it. But you would never, in my mind, you would never believe that being so serious about life, because there's always going to be somebody that says, you can't do this. That's going to be so hard. Like, you making merch. Everybody's making merch. How you going to get yours to sell? Like, but a kid who's being just goofy about life, or just has this imagination running wild, will be like, whoever wants to get it, hey, I got shirts. And if you rocking with me, I'm rocking with you. And then from there, you start building what you see as a Nike, as a LV, as a Dell, like, where you have this structure of a bunch of people, but nobody starts, like, in the neighborhood.
Right.
So that was my soliloquy to say, I like what you were saying about Tab and the creativity. And that gave me another thought process that took me to a whole nother tangent of just saying, like, stay you, man. Stay
Dude,
with
thanks.
the vast and curious knowledge. Stay informative because you're giving me information that I don't know when I would have ever received. So, and hopefully somebody picks it up too and is just like, wow, that's a different way of thinking of, you know what I'm saying?
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, man.
I'm very, very appreciative of you telling me that. For sure.
Yeah. So with Tav, and you have this, creative mindset of, great garments, woven and material that's particular to a T. What are you still producing? Are you still selling? What's your thought process with that?
So over the last few years, man, I've kind of just been learning the ins and outs of like the industry as a whole, right?
Yeah.
Like everything from like textile manufacturing to sourcing material to making connections. I'd like to go back to that one point you made of like the childlike inspiration, because I got to be honest with you, man. I do a lot of designing by myself when I'm just like dancing. I'll dance to myself. I'll put on some type of music, and like I'll just design in my head.
That's dope.
But yeah, dude, thanks, man.
Yeah.
So, and what am I ultimately doing by doing that, right? Like I'm like having ideas, like I'm kind of just like, I don't know.
It sounds like you're in like this flow state that people try to get into, and you never know what your flow state is until you get into it yourself. So it sounds like yours is almost like, yo, I kind of let go of the world for a minute and I just dance, and as I'm dancing, these ideas just start downloading into my system where I'm like, oh, this could be cool. Oh, maybe if I did this. So do you have a book open when you do this, or how does this happen? Oh, yeah,
good question. That's a good question, Alton. It's a
real good question.
So my mom and I, we have a great relationship. I'll throw ideas at her, right? And I have some other, like, close friends that, like, I'll throw ideas at. I'll always tell my mom, like, so she'll ask, right? She'll be like, oh, write that down, And I'm like, don't worry about it. Like, it's saved. Like, it's all, like, up here, you know what I mean? Like, I have this, like, confidence about it. But I can't draw for shit.
Okay.
I can't draw at all. Currently learning, or at least, like, was attempting, have kind of, like sidestepped for the moment on learning this software for garment design.
Okay.
So I would like be able to get the ball rolling on like executing actual pieces. So that's something that's been like kind of tricky for me personally, in my journey. But I'll start to.
You're good. You good, brother. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I'm like,
You good, man. Where we at?
You know what I will say?
You've been doing well, bro.
Dude, thanks, bro. Yeah. I was just about to say, like, I do feel like in this moment with you, you know? Like, I feel comfortable with you.
This is just a conversation. And you've been going for almost 50 minutes.
50?
Yeah.
Damn, we about to have hella footage.
Yeah, oh,
that footage,
days, bro.
Content, dog.
Content, I'm telling you.
That's what we do, bro. We just building the content, bro.
That's all you need.
We the most deserving in that regard.
That's all you need. 1 million pieces.
1 million pieces. That's all you need.
I was saying like it's 10. Hey, 1 million pieces. Let's get to it.
Man, it ain't no thing.
Yeah, that ain't nothing. So in terms of pieces of content, and you formulate them, and I like where you were going with it, and you have these people that you can kind of confide in, that you respect their opinions on, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's that next step for you? Are you making pieces? So like for me, I think I'm in the process now of just making stuff for myself, and if people end up seeing it and are like, yo, that's dope, then I might put it out. Are you in that wave as well of like creating something, maybe getting a sample to see what it looks like on you, and if you like it, you kind of keep it? Or are you making pieces to kind of give to the world and sell? What's that, I guess the thought process for you kind of go into?
Right. So you got to have like goals for like different periods in your life, right?
Right.
Like I would like call myself like an abstract thinker, right? I'll like think abstractly 20 years, 30 years down the road, but I'll also kind of try and conceptualize my life in, you know, the next 3 to 5 years, next year, type like that, like small goals, right? Yeah. So I think the next like big goal for me personally, like with the brand, is to execute a collection, and what's like essentially the reason like why we haven't moved is still sourcing funding, yep. And still trying to learn how to execute it. The industry is pretty. The industry is complex. Connections can get you far. Everyone knows that for yep. the most part. I'm not sure where I was going with that. The industry is complex, and it's a lot to learn. But I'm honest with myself, and like I'm not like I don't see myself shying away from this particular goal of mine. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like. Yeah. This is something that means a lot to me. It means a lot to my family. So, yeah, nah. And
hey, man, you can't lose if you don't quit.
Right, exactly.
So as long as slow wins the race, slow and steady.
Slow and steady.
They say the turtle wins.
They say the turtle wins, man. I heard that one time.
They told me. That's what they told me. They told me the turtle wins. So you have this big idea conceptualized. It's cool that you can think 20 and 30 years, because I can't even think about next month. Like,
can we talk about reading?
Yeah.
So
talk to me.
So in 2018, I think I read like 13 books. Okay. Okay. And then 2019, I think I read like 18 books. Okay. And then 2021, when the pandemic hit, I think that's when the pandemic hit.
2020.
It's a blur. When it hit? Yeah. 2020. I think I read like 50 books.
Went crazy.
Yeah, bro. Wow. I read a lot, and what I'll do is I'll speed up my listening on my audiobook.
Do you go 2x or 1.5?
Depending on the accent, I can go like 3x.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're next level. Okay. Because I can get to 2x, like you said, depending on the accent and who's kind of actually like doing the reading. Mm-hmm. I can definitely do 2x. I think I've never tried 3x, so the comprehension on that, it might take me.
Try that, and then talk to me about that.
All right.
Like the different accents. Like for me personally, a British accent is a little bit harder to hear or comprehend at higher speeds. But like the accent of English that we're speaking in is pretty money. Yeah. What I'll do sometimes, I'm out of my mind, is like when I'll paint a pretty picture, because I was gonna say some shit about like me being in bed, like fucking listening to my audiobook, but we gonna cut that. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll be on the beach, right? Yeah. Or like by the water, like like doing something that I can like just focus on listening, right? Okay. I'll close my eyes and then I'll crank up the speed. And you can really do some damage like in like a 30-minute time span at those speeds.
Yeah, so you can crank out a book.
Yeah, dude. So give that a try.
Yeah,
give that a try.
I'm definitely gonna try that.
As we're both on this right now, we're trying to build our libraries. Yeah. So I'll do a lot, like when I'm really trying to just like hustle at reading, I'll gravitate towards audiobooks. Yep. But there are some books that aren't available. I'll use Audible. Yep. But other books that I'll read physically. Yep. And yeah.
I just started gravitating to reading on my phone. So
okay, hell yeah. Like Apple.
Yeah, like the books.
Okay. iBooks.
Yeah. So, shout out. I'm gonna give a quick shout out. Shout out Caleb Cobb. Doing my taxes. If you need them done, hopefully I'm gonna get all this information out so you can actually go hit her up because she's putting money in your pockets. So, but in the process of doing my taxes, she was saying, yo, as a business owner, or, you know, if you're doing anything outside of just W-2 work, you can write a lot of stuff off. So she was saying you can write off books too in the capacity of yeah. So that's gonna be my wave for next year's taxes. But I get books for free right now because it's like the zlib or something like that. It's a website. I'll send it to you. It's called zlib.org or something like that. They have probably every book you can think of.
Dope.
So
who put you on a zlib?
I feel like I learned it in college.
Okay.
I think that's.
I'm gonna have to check them out.
Yeah, when I first learned it. But so I'm getting books there now just to read. Like if I don't want to buy them like initially, just to do that. But I'm so comfortable with it on my phone now that I'm just gonna read the book. When I'm done, at some point I'll just buy them all because I know I can write them off next year.
Right.
So, yeah, iBooks is the way to go for me. Once I get an iPad, definitely gonna take advantage of that because it's gonna look just like a book. And I'm just gonna be flowing right through it for sure. So reading on 3X, for sure, definitely gonna try that. That's gonna crank out a whole bunch of books. Audio books on YouTube too for a lot of books that I like to read. So
interesting.
I can start cranking those out for sure.
Dude, YouTube is the GOAT.
Bro. TikTok is up there. Like YouTube and TikTok in terms of like if you really wanted to like filter your algorithm for education, you could become what you want through TikTok and YouTube alone.
Definitely. Just
the information that they have on there to help you get started on whatever you want to do. Now, of course, I think it's also vital that you get like specialized information. So, like if you want to pay for a course, like I can see that for sure. But like if you just needed a how-to 101, you can definitely go straight to TikTok or YouTube and figure it out. I figured out so much, like how to do some of this editing stuff that I do.
Hell yeah.
YouTube University, bro. I ain't go to school for this. But nevertheless, it's been good, man.
Dude, it's been a great conversation. That's for sure. Thanks again for having me on.
I love it. And this is what we're going to do to end every podcast. You have to recommend one person to bring on the show. So,
man, that's hard, man.
If you had one person that you think would be a good conversation, tell it to that camera right there.
I'm definitely going to recommend Des Campbell. He would be perfect for this and would fit right in. I'm sure y'all would create that good content. We gonna have to cut that. No, he's a likely candidate for sure.
Perfect. Well, Des, I didn't say it. Josh did. So we'll get you there. Josh, again, man, this was the first one. So I definitely appreciate you taking your time out, having this amazing conversation. I've learned so much, and hopefully those that have watched have learned as well. Until next time, love, peace, and Afro Grease. We'll see you on the other side.